question? Does anyone have a question?
I have a question, Stuart. Just talking about, this week that there's not going to be meditation.
Who's asking the question?
Oh, sorry, it's Wendy.
Can you speak up?
Sure. Can you hear me?
I think it better now.
Okay. It's about taking the meditation into the day, into the week. Could you just talk a little bit about really utilizing this energy in a good way and holding it and taking it into this next week that you're not going to be here?
Yeah. Yes, okay. Look, I say it almost every class. I'll say it again. It's not like some intellectual exercise that you can plot out a map of how to use this energy. What it amounts to is that our responsibility is to build an inner life that is strong enough to allow God, higher energy, spirit to use us. We have to let it be. You understand? We can't plan out ways of using this energy because it's just not going to work. Because all of that is in the mind. It's really limited to human understanding. What we're dealing with is energy that is infinite in the universe. Our responsibility and the reason we do meditation, is to build an inner life that is strong enough so that we can organically allow that higher energy to guide us. We become a living example, of God's energy on the earth. And this is not some platitudinal type fairy tale, living. You understand? It's real. That energy will get you so in touch with reality, and it'll really enable you to build that kind of an inner life that allows that energy to work for you that way. I mean, that's how this whole process develops in a human being. But we have to do our part. Our part is building an inner life that is strong enough to do what I'm talking about. Once you build an inner life like that, this whole process is just organic. And it really filters into every single thing you do during the day, in ways that are completely amazing and almost miraculous. How everything you do during the day becomes, richer, deeper, more beautiful in our capacity not to understand it, but to be a living example of God's energy working in the world. It's experiential. So it all comes from building that kind of a system inside oneself. That's where it comes from. It doesn't come from religious beliefs. It doesn't come from, it's like the advice of Kala Rinpoche, don't be a Buddhist. And he was one of the highest Tibetan Buddhists I'd ever met. Don't be a Buddhist, Don't be anything. Be a child of God. Do the inner work that allows that kind of system to grow inside you, that allows creative energy to flow through. And we become an example. It's experiential. We become a vehicle through which God's energy, spirit, can flow. And this is a very difficult thing because we're trained from the earliest time of our life to do everything in accordance to what the mind understands. And there's nothing wrong with the mind, when it's used consciously. But, mostly it's not used consciously. It's used in a means of trying to rationally figure out what this world is all about. And it really leads to a dead end. It goes right to the grave. What I'm talking about goes to infinite energy in the universe. It's the soul marrying the universe, a oneness with higher energy in the universe. To attain that oneness, we have to attain a state of nothingness inside ourselves. We have to surrender everything. And that basically is what this meditation is for. It's to build that kind of inner life. It's not to create swamis and yogis and this, that's all bullshit, you know? It's to create an inner life for a human being that is strong enough for them to be a vehicle through which God's energy flows. And I think every human being has all the tools inside them to do this. It's a matter of getting training. It's a matter of learning how to do it. It's a matter of practice, repetition of practice, reconditioning ourselves, transforming ourselves into children of God. You know, in ordinary life, it almost sounds like a platitude, you know, but it's not. We have the system inside that allows the energy of a higher nature to manifest consciously in the world. We don't block it up. That's how we cross the bridge from an inner life to what we do every day. It's not that we go build a bridge, it's that we build our inner life. That is the bridge. And that enables us to cross into the world and use the energy of meditation consciously in our daily life. And I talk about this constantly, because it's absolutely an essential ingredient, and it's something everybody forgets. They forget. And it's why Rudy developed this exercise. He didn't develop this exercise to get disciples. I used to complain about them all the time. He developed it to pass on a means for people to do what I am talking about, to build that kind of strength inside themselves, that they become a vehicle for God's, a conscious vehicle through which God's energy can flow into the world. Generally, there's so many obstructions in people, there's so much static in people that the energy flows through them in a completely frazzled way. There's no purity in it. There's no real connection to spirit. It's all mind and emotions and ego and all of these trappings that we think, that make us think that we know something about life, and we don't know anything. And the whole point is not to know anything about life, it's to allow it to be living experience. That's how the energy of this meditation will manifest in the world, depending upon how strong a system people build inside themselves. And the more profound the system, the stronger the chakra system is, the more of this energy can flow through you in a conscious way. It takes time, it takes work, it takes patience, it takes really overcoming the most difficult person you have to overcome in the world, and that's oneself. And that takes time and patience and work and surrender and learning service in the world and learning to let go of a comfort zone that people try to live in, and to kind of live in a way where, you're constantly having to go deep enough inside yourself to build the kind of system that I'm talking about. Not easy. I never said this is easy, and I never met anyone in my life who worked as hard as Rudy used to work. Never met anyone. And it made a very profound impression upon me. And it's why I say I want to start a center, not to sit around and be, the chief yogi. I'm not interested in that. But, to have a healing set, have a vision about what can be done there to help people to grow. That's work. It does, it's not about sitting around on your ass feeling important because you transmit a little Shakti to other people. It's a lot of nonsense. But having a vision and then having the strength inside to allow that energy to flow through and nurture that vision. And it's fun, it's joy, it brings wonderful people into your life. And it's always an adventure. The greatest adventure on earth is the voyage that we take through ourselves. It's the greatest adventure. And this, what I'm talking about, brings into our life incredible people, wonderful people. It also brings some strange people, But then there's always something strange in every human being that's going to attract light and dark, But the inner strength enables us to deal with both of them without ever not serving higher energy in the universe. Does anyone else have a question? I'd like to. Is it clear what I'm talking about? I hope so, because this is really important. You don't ever have a spiritual life living in a comfort zone. It won't happen. What happens is you have a vision and then you grow to embrace that vision by letting higher energy flow through you and guide you. And it requires work to get big enough. So I remember when I was living in New York and I was living on 13th Street, and I had a really nice loft there, but I had to leave. I had to move out because of some trouble I had with the landlord. And when I found the other place, which was about 10 times better, the rent was 2.5 times higher than the old place. And so, well, how are you going to afford that? I said, look, I'll grow. I will expand my capacity as a human being and allow myself the strength to be able to build the strength to be able to, within 2 years, that 2.5 times rent became just a minor element of the pressures that were on me in my life. It just grew to where, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with this. It also made room for probably 75, 100 people to come to meditation every week there. And most of those people, I don't know what happened to them today. They're gone. But my God, that I grow because of that. By taking that responsibility on myself. And everything I do today came out of that, came out of Denton, Texas. What I did there in the 9 years I spent there, came out of 4th Avenue in Manhattan, 13th Street in Manhattan, the things I did there. Understand? And I don't know where, there's maybe 3 people here that were involved in those situations. And there's maybe 75, 100, maybe more people that used to come to class there every week. I don't know what happened to them, but my God, I know I can have living experience of what happened to me, having done that, gone through that, taking that on me, growing to transform that responsibility into something manageable, and then taking on something more. All of this is part of the way you transfer that inner energy to living in the world. And the incredible thing about all this is, as you grow this way, your inner life gets simpler and simpler. The gratitude grows inside, the love of God grows inside. You know, even the love of people grows inside from how much one learns from having been involved with so many people in their lifetime. Above everything, your inner life gets simpler and simpler. And I discovered that as my outer life got more and more complex, in order to deal with it, I had to get simpler and simpler in myself. I had to be less of Stuart and more of God's energy flowing through to be able to deal with an enormously complex life that I had. You know, from working with Chris, with, you know, building, you know, the Bahini Foundation with human trafficking, and to teaching in, I don't know, 7 or 8 different countries in the world, all over the United States. I mean, it was just huge. And in order to do it, I had to get simpler and simpler. There had to be less of me involved and more spiritual energy. And that test enabled me to get closer and closer to God, because that was the only place I could go to get the energy to do all of it, everything that I was doing. That's how the energy works in the world. In fact, it becomes essential. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, I just will re-announce that, you know, I'm going to be going away tomorrow for just a week. The next class will be not this Monday, but the Monday afterwards. You know, I just kind of need to get away from the computer for a while. So I'm going to take a little vacation. I'm going with a few students of mine. You know, there'll be classes in person, which I think will be very terrific. In fact, I had an in-person class with a student the other day, and it was really wonderful. And, you know, and then I'll be back and continue this. I mean, these Zoom classes have been pretty fantastic, you know, and I can never in any way put them down. You know, they have, to me, it's a miracle that's taken place in this last year on Zoom. And one of the best parts of that miracle is not only my growth, but seeing the growth that's taken place in many of you because of these classes. So I'll be gone for a week. Another thing is that I'm not sure I'm going to be doing the birthday retreat, you know, because right now I had 19 people, 2 of them backed out, and 3 of them are not vaccinated. And I have a really difficult time with being responsible for people coming that aren't vaccinated. Keep reading about this Delta variant and all this crap that you read about. And I don't want to take that responsibility on I don't want people to get sick. There are going to be other people at this place and we're not part of our group and eating in the same, you know, dining hall. And I just don't want that. So right now there's about 14 people. And I need to get at least 20 people to come. And if I don't have that, I don't want to make the effort to do it. So we'll see what's going to happen between now and the 1st of July. And, you know, if more people want to sign up, you're welcome, and maybe we will do it. I don't know. I'm not trying to make people feel guilty. I'm just telling you what the situation is. That's all. And the people that are not vaccinated, all of you are really deeply in my heart. And I'm not trying to put people down for not being vaccinated, because frankly, I was anti-vaccinations for 20 years. I never did that, you know. But when I read about these things going on in the world and people, you know, this Delta thing, which is probably 10 times worse than the other COVID, and I said, what? Either the news is making this up or it could be something terrible. And I don't want that terrible thing to happen to anybody because I'm holding a retreat. I don't think that's a way for me to serve God. And all of you are in my heart, every one of you, the ones that are vaccinated, the ones not vaccinated. I'm not interested in that. But at the same time, I have to be very conscious about what I'm doing and responsible, not only to myself, but to all of you. And to also people that are other people. I mean, there's always 100 people there from different groups and places, and, you know, and God knows what they bring with them, you know. And even if people get tested, it doesn't mean you're not going to get it from somebody who's there. Vaccination, at least if you get it, you know, it's like a little flu you're going to get, you know, it's not going to be a big problem. So this is what's going on. If more people sign up, I'll be happy to relook at it, but that's what's going on right now. So I will, you know, let you know what's going to happen. And what's the other? Oh, the other thing, probably sometime after my birthday, I'm going to take a trip for about 10 days, you know, because I want to go look at a place where I think there's a possibility of really opening a center, you know, where the rent is not going to be insane, and, you know, and we can get a place that's big enough to have a center, you know. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on in my life right now, and a lot of major changes that are taking place right now. So we'll see what's happening, you know. I mean, I'm full of joy and vision, and I'm very grateful that these things are happening. And I'm just trying to share it with all of you. And hopefully if I do build a center somewhere or have that, people can come and, you know, come for a week, 2 weeks, a month, you know, half a year, and get training in this meditation, you know, not via Zoom, but life training, you know, in-person training. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, it's Chris.
Yes, Chris.
I think I'm speaking for all of us to just wish you a wonderful week of vacation after the amazing year we've had with you. Thank you for it. It's been incredible.
You're welcome, Chris. And again, well, you'll all be in my heart. I'll take you with me. You know, look, I love everybody here. Every one of you are in my, there's a place for you inside me, every single one of you. And God bless you all. And I'm looking forward to coming back. We will continue this. I can't stop this. It's had too big an effect on too many people, including myself. So don't worry that, this will disappear. There are people that will disappear from this because they don't show up in the classes. And when people don't show up in the classes after a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I just take their name off the list, because I'm not going to spend my time chasing people who don't want to be here. So I'm just telling you that if you have to miss 2 or 3 weeks, let me know. Don't just disappear, because I'm not going to chase people. Yes, and the work is too hard, too difficult, too rich, and my responsibilities are to God and to sharing this to people that truly want to get it. And I just don't have time for the other anymore. Chase people around. Why aren't you coming? Why do I have to chase? I'm not interested. If somebody wants to be here, they'll beat down the door to get in. I'm not going to have to chasing, you know? So God bless you all. Thank you for being in my life. And thank you for this incredible Zoom thing that we've done this last year. And I guess like any occupation, you know, you got to take a vacation.
Good.
So bless you. Thank you. And I will see everybody the following Monday.
Blessings on your
Thank you,
journey.
Stuart. God bless you.
Bon voyage.